Hello, friends. Welcome back to the podcast. This episode is brought to you by From Within Records. Champions of Chaos Reloaded is officially out, streaming everywhere. Vinyl, shirts, posters are available. Head over to the From Within Records Big Cartel and pick it up while supplies last. This week, I've been talking about this forever. This weekend in Philly at the First Unitarian Church, From Within Records Showcase. Sad to say, Eco Strike, the final show. Payback, it is what it is, record release, which has been a long time coming. I'm super excited. I love Payback. I have this test press back here, which I'm so proud of. I will represent the Payback Mafia till the day I die. Magnitude, Shackled, Simulacra, Worn, Burning Strong, Seed of Pain, Almighty Watching, Beskar, and Off the Tracks. It's going to be crazy. I'm super excited. First time going to a show in Philly. I'm excited to see a lot of friends, a lot of familiar faces. Make sure to stop by the Beskar table to pick up a collab shirt, which I'm so excited to do with them. It's an amazing Mandalorian design. It was put together by our good friend Chris Wilson, plays in Ikulu, Cash Only Records. Shout out Combust. It's going to be a good time, and I'm super excited, and I hope to see all of you there. If you're not following From Within Records on social media, please boot up your Twitter, your Instagram, click that follow button to stay up to date on all the current news. And like I always say, please support From Within Records because they support us. If you're looking for high quality merch for your band, for your podcast, your record label, your business, whatever, hit up my friends over at Good Fortune Printing. You can follow them on Instagram at Good Fortune Printing. You can email them at contact@goodfortuneprinting.com. Amazing prints out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. They printed our Beskar collab shirts, so I'm very happy to be working with them again. So support them. And on today's episode, we had to track down one of my good friends, Ben, plays in a band called Take It to Heart, who I ride for. I booked a show. They're on it. Shout out Last Straw. It's going down Monday, April 25th at Program. I hope all of you can make it out to that show. Just make sure you go see Anxious the night before at Chain. They're on tour with Boston Manor, Trash Boat, Higher Power. So support that tour. Go see it wherever it lands near you. But for me locally, it's down the street at Chain. And then the next night, Monday at Program, Last Straw, Connecticut Straight Edge, Take It to Heart, Firestarter, Major Pain. Please come out, support, have a good time. It's going to be awesome. But I love Take It to Heart. I want to do everything I can to let everybody know about how awesome that band is. So I reached out to Ben to come on and talk about the band, what they have going on. There's new music on the way. There's a pretty cool rollout that's going to be happening soon. Little mention of some shows going on. It's going to be a good time. I have high hopes for that band, and I'm sure a lot of people know about that band by now, but if you're not familiar, go boot up your Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Bandcamp, YouTube, go stream The Brighter Side, and then come back, listen to me, sit down and talk to Ben for a great amount of time. It was awesome. It was very fun for me because we hang out every now and then, but to be able to sit down and have a personal conversation at length, it was a great time for me. It makes me appreciate him more as a human being. He has great perspective. So strap in, enjoy this conversation, and without further ado, welcome Ben Hughes to the show. All right, we're live. Welcome to the podcast, Ben. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you, Jamie?
I'm doing good. I'm always excited to be able to have a member of Take It to Heart on the podcast. You know, I'm a huge supporter of the band, so I'm stoked to finally have you on the podcast.
Dude, thank you so much. Yeah, it's an honor to be here. You're great. I love your podcast. I'm super stoked to be here right now.
Thank you. I'm always humbled whenever people tell me that they listen to the podcast, so it's greatly appreciated. But for me, I remember meeting you at some show. I swear it was a show at Riff Mountain, and then we all met up. A bunch of people went to Raising Cane's afterwards, and I remember meeting you and Jay on the same night. And I was like, oh, who are these, like, two people who I've never seen before? And I remember I was like, okay, cool. There's some newer kids coming around that I never met before. And then obviously always hearing through the woodwork that you're not originally from California. And I've never got that, that clear story. So I'm just curious if you can break down about where you grew up and how you ended up in California.
Okay, sure. So I was actually born in Philadelphia. I'm sorry, just outside Philadelphia in Chester County, Pennsylvania, in a town called Phoenixville. My parents were living around there at the time, and then soon after we moved to Southern California, actually. And until I was about 7, we were living in Duarte, which is not too far from here. It's the next town over. And then we lived in Denver for about 10 years. And that's where I went to school. High school, I graduated, and we moved back here to LA County. And now I live in Monrovia in the foothills, San Gabriel Valley.
Okay, that's interesting. See, I didn't know that you had a little stint in California before the one that you're in right now. So that's
I did.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting to hear. And in your time in Denver, obviously, growing up, formative years of your life, were you bummed to leave, or were you happy to get out of there? Because I spent only like a week of my life in Denver, and I enjoyed it, but maybe like 'cause I was on like vacation mode. But I'm just curious for you, having to leave at such a pivotal point in your life, because I'm sure you had strong friendships that you probably didn't want to let go of. But what was it like for you?
Yeah, I mean, at the time I was really bummed. I was really broken up about it. I actually left the hour after I graduated. Like, I graduated, we left the stadium, and then I packed up my shit and left. So I didn't get to go to any grad parties or anything, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. I was on my way to Los Angeles. I was on the road. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, kept up with people through, the internet and all that, but it sucked having to leave. I definitely, there's some friendships I still have over there. But some of them have fizzled out and others have kept, but either way, life moves on.
And was it important for you to stay for your graduation ceremony? Because to have to jet out right after, I feel like that's you kind of just. I felt like the graduation probably would be like an annoyance, right? Something in the way. Because someone like me, when I graduated, I only did it because my parents wanted to see me, walk across that stage. I honestly couldn't care less. It was very it was like inconvenient to me because at that point, like, there was a show I was going to the next day. This band, Bound in Blood, was coming back.
Oh, right on.
And I was like, that's all I care about. I don't want to do anything else. All this grad night BS. I'm like, I don't care about that. All I care about is hardcore. But my mom really wanted to see that happen, so that's why I did it. If I had a choice, if my mom had to work, or if she didn't care like me, I wouldn't have gone. I would have just went home.
That's wild. Yeah, I mean, there definitely was that aspect of my parents wanting to see that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wanted to do it too. I mean, you're in high school and they talk it up, and I did it. Got all the pictures. It was cool. I mean, I was a pretty good student in high school. Mm-hmm. So I guess, like, I had like the little honors,
like sash kind of thing.
Yeah, the sash around my neck. Yeah, like, yeah. So I guess it was good for me to do it, but I mean, looking back, I don't think there was as much for me to be bummed out as I thought there was at the time. Like, I was like, oh, grad parties, I'm missing everything. My friends are having all this fun. I'm like alone in a relatively like new state. Like, I haven't been here for 10 years. But looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, this was a better move, to be here.
Was there ever a thought of, okay, my parents are moving, like I could try to make it work and stay? Because I'm assuming you graduating high school, you had to be like 17, 18.
I didn't really have that option. My parents actually, they moved like right before, it was right after my senior year started. I actually lived with a friend's family for most of my senior year of high school, and my dad was living here in SoCal. He moved for work, and then my mom was staying with her parents in Pennsylvania, and then I was in the middle of the country in Colorado, finishing up school. And so I guess to answer your question, no, I didn't really have like the resources to like stay there. The plan was always for me to, once I graduate, I go back to live with my dad. So
okay,
yeah, that's how it happened. And they flew out, they saw me graduate, and then we drove to LA immediately after.
That's a long drive. Was that's like like 13, 14 hour drive?
Yeah, I think we did it over 2 days.
Okay. Oh, cool. So you took your time, so you weren't like rushing just to get back home.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
while you're living in Denver, were you listening to hardcore, or was that something you found out about once you got back to California?
Yeah, I got into hardcore, when I was in high school out there. Let's see. There's this little this little venue in Denver called Seventh Circle. It's on 7th Avenue, and I can't remember the other street on the corner, but anyways, that's not important. Anyway, so I spent a lot of time at this little venue. It's like a little DIY spot. It's been around, I don't know, since like the late 2000s. The owner, Aaron, is wonderful. He's one of my favorite people. And I made friends with kind of like the punk kids in high school. Those are the people I started hanging out with towards like, my sophomore year. Like all 10 of us. And so we would all go to Seventh Circle on the weekends and catch whatever show there was. It was a lot of ska punk at the time, but I remember I was listening to that. So a lot of that stuff. I remember really falling in love with Milo Goes to College by the Descendants. That was like the first big, like proper hardcore punk record for me.
It's a great band.
Or maybe after that, or maybe you could say like Start Today by Gorilla Biscuits too. Those two were big for me.
And at the time, with your hanging out with the more punk crowd and going to these ska punk shows, do you remember your first like proper hardcore show?
First proper hardcore show. I think it was when I saw DRI I guess you could consider that a hardcore show. They're kind of like OG. I mean, they're like more crossover, but I saw them in my sophomore year of high school at the Bluebird Theater in Denver. There was a bunch of like little local shows at like Mutiny and Seventh Circle and a bunch of other DIY spots, and there would be a lot of mixed bill stuff. So like you'd have hardcore bands with the ska bands and with the thrash metal bands and all that. I remember actually in 2017, I guess my my first like big ticket like modern hardcore kind of show was when Knox Loose came through with Every Time I Die, and Harm's Way and Eternal Sleep. That was a good one.
Damn, it's crazy lineup. Sometimes I forget how long Knock Loose has been around, because they've been at it for a really long time. You know, because I know obviously a lot of people have been finding out about them as they've been getting bigger, doing these bigger tours, getting more exposure. But they've been grinding and doing it for a really long time.
They have, yeah, since like 2014. I remember in high school, I would go on Bandcamp and find their stuff, and yeah, and I remember finding like the Pop Culture EP, or like the Damaged Goods split, which is like ancient. It's almost like 10 years old now, and I thought it was like the most insane shit at the time.
Yeah, I really love the cover art for Laugh Tracks, and I have it that shirt somewhere, but it's like buried in like a closet somewhere.
Yeah, it's definitely like a memorable cover, with like the 3 sections, and you have a cross section of this guy's face, and it's like kind of in a specific art style. It's like kind of like a comic book. Yeah, it's cool. It's a little bit non-traditional for like that style of hardcore.
Yeah, it seems like way different than anything they would probably do these days.
Yeah, definitely. When they released Different Shade of Blue, that's definitely more of like traditional looking metalcore or metallic hardcore artwork.
And even with the newer album, I forget what it's called, with like the red cover.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna look that up real fast. I forget what that looks like.
Yeah. Oh, A Tear in the Fabric of Life, or a tear. I said tear.
Yeah.
But
it's a tear in the fabric of life.
Now, which,
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
yeah, very dark. Very dark.
Yeah, and maybe it's because I'm a fan of comic books, and maybe that's why that Laugh Tracks art stuck out to me so much. But I just like ordered it online. I was like, I need to have that shirt before it like just disappears, because sometimes like when I'm a fan of a band's cover art for an album, I'm like, okay, I really need to track down or hope that they make a shirt with just the cover art, because I'm like a big fan of t-shirts like that.
Okay, right on. So you like cover art shirts, like it's just the album cover on a shirt. Gotcha. Yeah,
just nice little representation. So yeah, you moved to California. Were you, or was it like a thing where you wanted to start a band, or did this whole thing just kind of find you through meeting new friends from living down here?
Yeah, the latter. I basically started going to program. I got down here, and I think the first show I went to was actually Sound and Fury 2017. I remember I had bought tickets for it earlier in the year, and then I just kind of went solo. I didn't know anyone, but I liked the lineup. There were bands playing that I liked. I was really stoked on Incendiary at the time, and they were playing. And I just started going to shows down here. I went to program a lot. And by the end of 2017, I met Jay at program, and we kind of both expressed interest in starting a band down here. And we did end up jamming, and we were kind of messing around with some like almost like a Foundation metallic style. And that was for a couple years, and it didn't really pan out. And then we had some members switch out, and then eventually Take It to Heart was kind of born a couple years later. So
you meet Jay, and like in what order do you meet the other members? Did you meet Pat or Eric next?
I think I met Eric next. Eric Eric knew some mutual friends. It's like I'm trying to remember at this point. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Eric. It was just like there was mutual friends, and he knew someone who I knew, and then we ended up being in the same place at the same time. And then after that, it was Pat, and then I met Pat at an Iridescent gig, which was their project before Take It to Heart.
I always forget about that band until people bring them up.
Yeah.
Cool name, but yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting band.
Believe me, they want to forget about it too.
All right, everyone, go on Bandcamp, Spotify, go stream Iridescent. Don't let Pat and Eric forget. That's so funny. Yeah, I saw them one time. I don't even know why I was there, if I'm being honest. It was that program. I'm like, why the hell am I here? Because obviously there was a band there that I wanted to see, but they played. And this was before I even talked to them or even really knew who they were. But I was like, this, like, yeah, it was just strange because I swear I saw the band because like it was like a genre, like the type of show that it wasn't like, my place, right?
Right. Yeah.
There was a band that I was just into that I wanted to see, so I went and saw the band and went home. But yeah, just by chance I saw their old band.
Yeah. I think that was the same deal with me. I can't remember if I saw them and then met them later, or I think I met them and then maybe went and saw the band as well. I think that's what it was. I met Eric and then I pulled up to a show. I mean, I think they played with Andy's Room and Ridgeway one or two times.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of more in that scene. So, I mean, I don't know if you care about those bands.
They're not my favorite, but just because they're like from around here, I feel like I gotta pay attention. So like Ridgeway is going on that tour, with Prize Horse, like on like the East Coast, like later this year. So yeah, I try to pay attention just because it's not like all hardcore doesn't mean like I'm gonna ignore all of it.
Yeah, definitely. I that's sick. I mean, I think people should definitely check out more in their scene than just what's immediately available.
100%. And honestly, it's like thanks to program too, because they do a really great job of posting a bunch of live clips from the bands that play in the shop. So there's bands that I see that I'll check out that I probably would have never even knew existed if it wasn't for them. So that's like an interesting resource that I never thought that I would have just by following the shop that does these awesome shows. So they do a good job of promoting bands probably when they don't even have to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think program's really great for doing that. Funnily enough, that's actually how Take His Art got on Safe Inside Records. I'm pretty sure Bert saw us playing at Program. Well, someone posted a clip to a story. I think it was Program.
Mm-hmm.
And then he saw that and then found the band on Instagram. He's like, yo, you guys are cool. You want to, hop on the label? I think that's how it went. I know that's also how I remember the dudes from Time and Pressure were telling me about that.
Mm-hmm.
How it was similar for them. I can't remember if that was independent or maybe they told Bert. But it was Drew. He was like, yo, this band is really cool. I want to play with them, which unfortunately didn't really get to happen too much before they broke up. Rest in peace, Time and Pressure.
Yeah, one of the best bands from St. Louis. And I'm still bummed because they had a run out in California planned. I think it was like 2020. Yeah, it was definitely 2020 because I remember their stuff got canceled like right as the pandemic was ramping up, and right. And I really like that band a lot. The guys in the band are awesome, and I was stoked because like we had plans to actually like hang out before the show. was going to be my first time meeting them and seeing them live. But yeah, all that got canceled, and obviously the band decided to call it quits, and they never made it out to California, and that
Yeah.
will always be a bummer to me, because I just think about how much fun that show would have been. Time and Pressure program.
Yeah. I totally agree. Definitely one of those missed opportunities due to COVID, which we can all relate to.
So you mentioned the band Take It to Heart. You and Jay had the metallic thing going, kind of fizzled out. But at what point, if you can remember, was it when you guys kind of were like, yo, this actually might be something, one of the songs like start coming together, and you guys kind of like cultivate the sound that you have?
So it was after Sound and Fury 2019.
Okay.
And so me, Eric, and Jay, we're all big fans of Have Heart, and we all saw Have Heart at Sound and Fury, and it was great, and we loved it. And I think that I remember, at least I could say for me, leading up to Sound and Fury, and like around that time, I guess I was getting back in that headspace of melodic hardcore. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to see Have Heart, and then I was kind of re-listening to those bands, and I kind of realized I really love this style. This might be fun to play, and it was kind of in the back of my head. And I guess the other guys must have kind of felt the same way. Anyway, so we had practiced with this other bands here at my place, and our buddy Logan was on drums, and he kind of had to bounce early. And I remember we were kind of just standing there, and Eric just busted out the introduction to Skyline, the last track on the Brighter Side, and he just played that arpeggio, boom, down, down, down. And I was like, hey, wait, like play that again. That was cool. And we basically wrote like half the song right there, and we're like, this kind of sounds like, I don't know, like melodic hardcore, like something you would hear out of like 2006. Like, kind of looked at each other, we're like, you guys want to do this? Or I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So yeah, it just kind of happens, real organically, and it was just out of the time, out of what we were interested in. And I think the experience of seeing Have Heart was really crucial to like catalyze the formation.
That's pretty interesting, because I kind of thought about that. Obviously, to anyone who was aware or who went to any of the Have Heart shows, when they did that run, knew like how big of a deal it was, because they had been gone for a decade. And even before that decade, when they had that hiatus, or before they broke up, they already had such a huge impact on the scene, right? They did a world tour, flawless discography, and they just were amazing. So to be gone for 10 years and have a whole new generation of hardcore, come up and, long to see this band, and, have this new, generation that they're influencing that they probably didn't even know about because they've been gone. They're doing other things. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to gauge that stuff, but for them to come back and to see that impact, sold out shows, crazy shows, all across the world. I think it's awesome that they had this kind of impact to like indirectly like inspire you guys. 'Cause I'm sure they didn't come back to, all right, let's try to inspire people to start new bands. They were helping out other causes, but I think it's awesome to hear that just by you guys being there, it just kind of sparked this thing and created this awesome thing that I really enjoy, because I remember hearing about your band, and you can only care so much when you hear about something through the woodwork. It's a lot better if you're able to see it live or actually hear the music. So I didn't know what to think. I'm like, all right, cool, these kids are starting a band, let's see where it goes. And I didn't go to like the first show. I don't know if you're actually counting as your first show. You guys did some like Halloween thing or something, or isn't somebody's back? Was it? For some reason I think it's a Halloween thing, but I
Yeah.
remember you guys played somebody's backyard.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, that's correct.
and I was like, okay, that's cool, but I didn't know whose thing it was or even where it was. But it wasn't until you guys played Program for the first time that's when I was like, all right, like let me come out early and see what this is all about, see if it has potential or if I should just kind of walk away and not really pay attention to it. But it was an interesting night because I remember that night, if I remember correctly, like you guys didn't have anything recorded out, but there was like a bunch of kids singing along and going off, and I'm like, this is their first show at Program. Kids are singing along, going off. The music's not even out yet. This might be something. I definitely got to pay attention to it. Like I'm glad that I showed up that night and was able to catch that set and experience that.
Yeah, that was a crazy first show. I remember that totally blowing away my expectations. I mean, I was expecting like 5 or 10 people to like, nod their heads and, kind of walk away when we're done. But we did a little bit of hyping on social media. I think we posted some clips of what we were working on, and I think that was enough to like get people stoked, and I'm really grateful for that. I mean, just people enjoying the music. That's, as a musician, I mean, that's all you can really ask for. Mm-hmm. And just to kick off the live experience of the band in that sort of way. Like, I mean, there was like a solid 50 people in Program.
Yeah.
And like first show, like, holy shit.
And if you remember,
super humbling.
What was the Halloween show like? Because I wish I could have been there to witness it, but I don't think I've ever asked anybody about like what the experience was like and how you guys even end up there.
Oh yeah, so it was Eric was working. I think he was working at Portola at the time, and it was like one of his coworkers. Like he told one of his coworkers about the bands, mm-hmm. and they're like, they offer that we could like play in the backyard. Or they were doing some like Halloween get together, and we're like, okay, screw it, sure. So we pull up, and it's like this little house in Huntington Beach, and we come in through the back. And immediately I know that this is going to be a weird experience because it's all like Huntington Beach kids. Mm-hmm. Like no one here knows what hardcore is. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, this is going to be interesting. So we set up I brought a PA. I set up the PA. I get all of our gear ready. The other guys show up, and we actually had a few friends show up. Felix did, and AJ. Mm-hmm. AJ was wearing a hot dog suit.
That's awesome. Wait, you guys didn't dress up?
Oh well, yeah, we did, but
okay.
I was actually dressed as Ben 10.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I had the Omnitrix and everything. AJ was wearing a hot dog suit. There's some footage somewhere of him moshing in a hot dog suit, and that was sick. Yeah, we played the music, and our homies really dug it. I think the other people were kind of whatever about it. Then after that, some guys came up to us and they're like, "Hey, can we like use your gear and like jam around a little bit?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure."
I would have said no. That's crazy.
And they played like 20 minutes of like really shitty punk, and that was really odd. And then at some point, I think it was Eric. He came up to me and he's like, yo, these people have like a big ass Trump flag in their garage. Let's get out of here. And we're like,
That's so funny.
yeah, we're gonna bounce.
I'm surprised.
So we packed up our shit and left.
How did Pat get out of there? Okay, they got a big old Trump flag out there, Huntington Beach. And for people who don't know, because like you say, like, you know, obviously Huntington Beach, there's like this connotation, and people kind of have like a general idea of what Huntington Beach is, but like for people like us who like live in Southern California who have experienced it, it can be pretty bad.
Yeah. No.
If you're colored, don't go to Main Street. Just stay away. That people try to start fights, and it's just pretty whack, if I'm being honest. I hate going down there, and luckily there's nothing down there that I like. So it's rare if you see me out in Huntington Beach.
Yeah, I mean the actual beach is nice, and I mean it's nice to. I mean, there's some, you know, food spots and coffee spots that I go to every now and again, but I mean,
all right. I would like to know, and then I'd have to have you accompany me.
Yeah.
If I go to the beach, I'm going to like you know, the bougie spots. I'm going down to Laguna.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I rarely go to the beach as well. I try to go at least like once during the summer because it's so convenient, because it's so close to, especially where I live. I can literally take you know, any street to the beach. It's super close.
Right.
So I try to at least do it once. Just do like a, you know, a couple hours down there and hang out.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it gets old, definitely, going to the beach. Like I guess it depends on the person. For me, and you could probably agree, it's like, yeah, you know, the beach is the beach. You know, you go like a few times during the summer, and
but I gotta say, the beaches out in Pensacola are way better than the beaches out here. Because
really?
I went to Pensacola for a show, shout out Burning Strong, and Carter Holmes, he was like, hey, like, we're gonna go to the beach before the show, but I just want to give you a heads up, like, these are the best beaches in the world. And I thought he was full of shit. I'm like, nah, whatever, you live here, you gotta hype up your spot, right? And I remember we pull up to the beach, it's not crowded, which is amazing, because out here there's always tons of people at the beach, which is like, whatever, it's you know, California's a popular place, so I get it. Yeah. So we get to the beach, and I notice the sand is actually white versus out here our sand's kind of brown, kind of dirty. And I'm like, all right, so that's like a big difference that I can tell right away. But as we're walking to the water, I'm hearing like the sand crunching, and I'm just like, this sand is really clean, because back home there's always trash, you know, seaweed washed up, and it's just not nice. But when I'm walking on like the sand of this Pensacola beach, I'm like, whoa, this is really insane, because like you can't hear the sand like this back home. And then obviously it's a different ocean, so we get into the water, it's warm, I can actually swim in it and not be freezing to death like out here. So if anybody listening, or even if you get a chance, go to the beaches in Pensacola, they're amazing.
I will have to, and I might get a chance later this year.
Okay, all right, we'll get to that maybe. But so Eric stumbles upon this Trump flag. You guys pack it up, and walking away, were you guys like, you know, happy with the experience of, you know, playing for the first time live, or did you guys, you know, kind of like figure out things you need to tighten up on? Like, what was it like after the fact?
I think we were all kind of like, oh, okay, well, you know, that was an experience. Definitely an odd way, or like an odd performance to play. I think we were at least proud that we were able to, like, you know, be tight enough to play a show together. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, our homies enjoyed it, and I think at that point, like that was all that mattered. You know, we enjoyed it, they enjoyed it. Well, we enjoyed playing. I mean, someone saw the Trump, like, it's like they opened up the garage for some reason, and we saw that, and we're like, oh, this is,
it's like, surprise.
Let's get out of here. Yeah. So
that's wild. And you get hit up by Bert from Save Inside, and at that point, were you guys even thinking about record labels, or was this like a just nice surprise when that happened?
Yeah, we were thinking about labels. We wanted to release the Brighter Side through someone, and we actually, so we dropped it ourselves, and then after that I shot it out to a few different labels. I sent it to War Records, I sent it to Young Blood, I sent it to Rev, I sent it to just like, you know, whatever labels I think might be interested. And we heard back from a couple. Andrew Klein liked it. He said, "Yo, this is really cool. I can't put it out since you guys already released it, but you know, I like it. I dig it. And if you guys want to do stuff in the future, hit me up." But we didn't have anyone, you know, like want to take us on board, like from the get go or anything, except Bert. And it kind of just came at the right time. You know, just by chance, he saw that video and he messaged the page, and it went from there. And, you know, he was like, "Hey, you know, you guys are like the sound I'm kind of looking for, and you're a new band." And we're like, "Yeah, we're a new band, and you're a label, and let's do it." So yeah, it was just kind of right place, right time, I think.
Yeah, and they're a cool label. They've got some you know, awesome bands on there doing cool stuff. So I'm stoked that you guys were able to link it with somebody. I never knew how tricky that stuff can get until I started doing the podcast, and I had some, you know, people in bands ask if I could try to help, you know, send out their stuff to labels, which I don't want to do for everybody, right? Obviously, I'll do it for bands that I like, bands that I believe in.
Yeah,
and I've done it. I had those conversations, and it's pretty interesting. So I'm happy that you guys were able to land somewhere cool and, you know, have support.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky. I mean, you know, half the time they won't even listen to your stuff, it seems like. Like I sent out the Brighter Side to, you know, maybe 5, 6, 7 different labels, and maybe 3 got back to me, and it's like, okay, fair, but you know, maybe you can at least listen to it. But you know, whatever, water under the bridge.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe they just forgot to get back, or you know,
they didn't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. People will consume things on their own time, because trust me, I'll have a band on the podcast and do my best to promote it, and then I'll you know, talk about it with friends, or you know, put it out there, and it seems like you know, sometimes people won't want to push a band just because they're not, you know, popular in like the general sense of the community, right? But then they'll go play a fest, somebody will post a crazy set online, and then now it's like, oh, okay, now it's okay that we that everybody knows that this band's good and cool. We can now feel okay to post about them. But I'm just like, that's weird, because I've been posting about that band forever, and it seems like everybody was like too shy to post about it because it wasn't cool yet. I'm just like, that always blows my mind, because it's the same music. They hadn't put out anything new from you know, from then to now. So it's always interesting, and also it's very surprising at how out of tune people are, when I'm just like, you know, I thought people would already know about this band, and like, granted, like, I try my best to be on top of everything, listen to everything, but the amount of times where I realize, so like, a lot of people are just out of tune, it's really, really surprising for me.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I think that there's a lot of people who just kind of only ever follow the trends, and they only care about the stuff that's, you know, like the who's who. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if your band is popping, then people listen to you. If you're not, but if you're not cool, you're not going to get the attention.
And that's a big part of why I do this, is to try to help, break down those walls and help, expose bands who I think people should be listening to, whether they're cool or not. I just hope that, people will at least give it a shot. So that's why that's a big part of why I do this podcast like every week and talk to these bands that I think deserve recognition if they don't already have it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you for doing this. This is super cool. You're definitely someone who I think genuinely enjoys and believes in hardcore and in the community around it, and I think that's special. I don't feel like there's too many people who are as kind of genuine and passionate about it as you are. So thank you for that.
No, this is the least I can do, right? Because I can't play an instrument. I don't want to book any shows. I booked one show, and I think that might be a one and done. Yeah, so this is just my way, because obviously there's like a million other people doing awesome things, playing in bands, booking tours, booking shows, having venues. So if I can contribute this way, this is something that I'm very happy to do.
Hell yeah!
So
we're in it together. I will write the risks, and you can make the podcasts.
All right, good deal. So you have this record. I don't know. I don't want to say too much, but you guys have had this record for a bit. How frustrating is it to not be able to release anything?
It's kind of torturous. Yeah. So we've had our next EP finished and submitted since last July.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's done. It's like ready, but the release has been pushed so far because of vinyl. There's a lot of delays in the vinyl pressing industry, similar to a lot of other things going on with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It's been causing delays and shortages and this and that and the other thing, and vinyl is part of that. And so Bert was telling us last year, he's like, yo, I'm looking at like the estimated like the timing for this stuff, and like we're probably not going to be able to, like it's probably going to be at least a year after you submit before we can get this out. And so this was about a year ago. We're like, oh shit, like we got to get this recorded, we got to get this mixed and mastered so we can get it in. And so we kind of pushed on it, and regardless, I mean the wait time kind of was still climbing, and so it's not going to be out till August, and we're not even going to have physicals until towards November.
And obviously, like I've talked to you guys about this behind the scenes, but obviously the pre-orders will go up in August. The record, will the full record go up in August, or will only like a couple singles go out?
Yeah. So our plan right now is, we're going to have the full record go up digitally in around the middle of August.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, that's when pre-orders are going to go live for vinyl and probably some other items. And then singles will come out beforehand, June and July probably.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, and I get that it's like really tricky, right? Because the physicals come in the fall, and it's just like, all right, how do we roll this thing out? We don't want to push it out too soon, because you don't want to make people upset, like, hey, I ordered this record, it still hasn't came in yet, like what's the deal? When you could put a pre-order date and people will still be like, where's my record? I ordered it 2 weeks ago. It's like, dude, did you not read what was on the page of the website where you spent your money? Because it goes over people's head all the time, which is really mind-blowing to me. But uh, it's tricky, and I wonder, um, you know, if there was a better way to roll it out. Like, could you do like, like here's phase one of the rollout, but it's going to be just tapes and CDs, or here's the digital first, and then tapes and CDs for phase two, and then phase three, the final phase, the record's out. But it's like, it's a lot to ask, right, for your people who listen to the band, who care about the band, to be a part of that. Like, someone like me, like I would be down just because I like the band a lot. But it's just a weird thing, and also nobody's really done that. I can't think of a band that has tried to take that approach to combat the delays and the pressing plans. And it sucks too, because when I look at you guys, I'm like, and I've known that you've had this record done for so long. It's just like, is this like stunting the creative process? Because a whole year, like, we could have already been on to the next EP, to the next split, to the to the full length. The amount of exposure you could have already had, the more tours. I know one tour got canceled, not due to your guys' fault, like the Omicron and all that. But it's just frustrating, and for me, because I'm just like, this is only like like there's only like a finite amount of time. The window's constantly closing, and it's just like, if you guys had to wait this long, hopefully by the next time, if it's still bad, like I feel like you guys got to implement a better strategy to try to just get it out and be able to keep moving and do more. Because or unless you guys are happy with sitting around, I don't know if you guys are okay with it, but I'm just it's just frustrating, and not for you guys, like, but I think about this all the time with the bands that I do like this whole thing is, vinyl is a big part of the music scene, and you want to be able to give back and have something physical for people who want it. And it's just super frustrating when I think about it in terms of the career of the band.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for sure. It's just the circumstances that we're given, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not really happy about it. We would want to record and get everything mixed and mastered and release it like soon after, but like as soon as possible. So yeah, like you were saying, we can keep moving, but it just wasn't possible this time, and we're not happy about it, but we got to work with what we've got. So I mean, at the same time, we've had discussions about it within the band. It's like, realistically, yeah, dealing with COVID and everything probably stunted the progress, and we weren't able to play shows, weren't able to do the live experience, which is the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Being a band. But at the same time, there was a lot of other people who weren't able to do that as well. I mean, really, I think every band has a setback. So, I think that, we're all kind of in the same boat, and, I guess we're kind of coming out of it.
Yeah. But it's way different now than it was a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
And have you guys thought about CDs? Because I was at Disneyland the other day, and I met up with Justin, the singer of Field of Flames, and he just got some copies of their new record, which the vinyl's not going to be out for a bit. You can go pre-order the vinyl right now, but he got physical CDs, and I got one, and I was like, okay, this is awesome, because I can actually listen to the music now. It's not up on Spotify yet, but I was like, even though the format of CDs kind of forgotten, not as popular, I think it still has some value to it, even though the only place that I can listen to CDs is in my car, because my car is from like 2016, so surprisingly it still has a CD player. But my personal computer, my laptop, no disc drive. So I'm like, okay, at least I have my car. I spend a lot of time in my car, so that CD will get a lot of spins until the digital goes up, until the vinyl's out. But I hope more people will consider other formats. I obviously they should always consider other formats, but just in these trying times, like if you want to get something out, CDs are still there. Obviously, tapes are still very popular. So
yeah, we are considering CDs and tapes. We've done, as you know, I mean, we did tapes for the Brighter Side. We did 2 runs of them. We're planning to do some for the next EP coming out. And yeah, CDs as well. And then you had mentioned earlier, like a hypothetical like rollout phase, and it's funny because that's actually what we're planning on doing. I think we're gonna have like a digital release, and then probably a month or 2 after that, CDs and tapes, and then after that vinyl. So
okay, well, I had no prior knowledge to that. That was just an idea that popped in my head.
Yeah, but great minds think alike, I guess.
I was just about to say that, so that is very true. There was a Broken Vow Take It to Heart tour that's supposed to happen on the East Coast.
Yes,
and obviously had to get canceled, rescheduled. Are there any plans locked in? Can you speak about that?
I can speak a little bit.
Okay.
So yes, we will be touring again this summer, and we have expanded the scope. It's going beyond the East Coast. So we're real excited for it. Yeah, we're booking stuff right now. I think we're making progress. I think we're about halfway through, the booking process.
And if I remember correctly, you and Evan were booking the whole thing last time. Is that the same deal for this go around?
Well, the first go around, it was mostly Evan and Tommy. I think I booked one show, but that was because I had a connection in Richmond.
Okay.
This time around, it's mostly been, Tommy and Evan again, and then Eric and Jay.
Okay. Awesome. And on that first run, there are these, blue hoodies, right? I seen Tommy posting pictures in the blue hoodies, and I've been wanting one. And normally I don't wear blue. If you can look behind me, and you'd be hard pressed to find anything blue. Like you see this little sliver of blue that's like a work T-shirt. But I really wanted one, so I could support that colorway. And I always ask whenever I see you guys in person, but here I am again asking, where are those hoodies and when will they be available?
So the blue hoodies they're on the East Coast. I think they're sitting at Tommy's house. You can buy one on our Big Cartel. A few people already have. And if you're one of those people and listening to this, I apologize. The wait's been really long. It was because it was going to cost me like $250 to get the hoodies shipped back from the East Coast to here. We were supposed to pick them up on the East Coast. And so basically I was like, okay, hey Tommy, can you like just deal with the hoodies for me? I'll just give you the stuff, or the list of, the addresses and all that. And can you handle that for me? And he's like, yeah, sure. But we didn't really get that in time before he went out with Anxious on their full US. So that kind of added in this delay. So yeah, you can get one. And I think Tommy like just got back home. And so he's going to be able to ship them out. So. Okay.
So Anxious tour is over. Go bug Tommy for your hoodie if you've ordered one already. If not, go to the
bug me. Well, bug me first because it's The Take It to Heart hoodies. Bug Take It to Heart. Don't
No,
don't make it Tommy's problem.
bug Tommy.
Like it is Tommy's problem, but it's not Tommy's problem.
Everyone bug Tommy.
No, we love Tommy.
Yeah.
He's actually doing a huge favor for me with that.
Mm-hmm. No, Tommy's awesome. He's
yeah.
I said it on the episode with Bertles. He's super talented, and I love him, and I love Broken Vow. But okay.
Yeah.
So I know you guys have one show planned, obviously, because I booked it. April 25th, Monday night program. Connecticut Straight Edge will be in the building. Last Straw. Make sure you go to see Anxious at Chain Reaction the night before with Boston Manor, Trash Boat, Higher Power, and then the next day, Monday program. You know, you can mosh harder for Take It to Heart, Major Pain, Firestarter, and Last Straw. It's gonna be a great night.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm stoked for it.
You know, I honestly felt kind of bad because I didn't even ask anybody. I didn't even ask you guys to to do the show, because obviously there was some other stuff that I was working on that fell through, and that opportunity presented itself. I was talking to Grady that night at the observatory, and presented the idea of doing a Last Straw show. I'm like, all right, cool. If we can do it, like, these are the bands that I want, right? Because obviously Major Pain, a newer band from out here. I know Kenny, so I want to help spread the word about them. And obviously I love Firestarter. I think that band is really awesome. Los Angeles Straight Edge, and obviously Take It to Heart. Orange County, band. Shout out to Dare, shout out to Scalp. But I just feel like they're just in different places. Dare's on tour with Karma. Scouts, playing different types of shows,
right.
Which is awesome. They're a sick band, so I was like, all right, like, I gotta, put it on for the type of music, the style that I love, which is what you guys are doing. So it just made sense to ask you guys, or to not ask, but to put you guys on it. But and then obviously I presented you with the DMs, and you guys were like super down. So thank you guys for being down and not making me feel stupid, but by saying no.
No. Absolutely, and thank you for doing that for us. We're always down to play with those bands, and then Last Straws is awesome too, and that's all members that we know from their other bands too. Mm-hmm. I mean, Eric met all those guys or not all those guys, but a lot of them from they played One Step Closer or whatever, and then Anxious, and the guys from Broken Vow know them, so we're all kind of in like a big circle. So
and I can't stress this enough, for them to stick around on their day off to do this is means a lot to me, because they have to drive up north for their show the following day, so they could have easily broken up that drive into like 2 days instead of doing it in one shot. But they're doing that to stick around, to hang out, to play the show. So I'm very grateful for them for being down to do that, because I know tour can get very exhausting, and to stick around, and obviously and to do another show for your other band, not even the band that you're on tour with. So it definitely is something that I'm very grateful for them doing. So it definitely means a lot to me. So anybody listening, come out to program, support, and have a great time. That's the most important thing, because Last Straw, this is their first time on the West Coast. They've only played 2 shows, once in Connecticut, the second one in Wilkes-Barre, and then now the third one, Fullerton, California.
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide, Grady Allen.
Yeah. Super talented. I love Grady. I have this my favorite memory so far of Grady is me and Grady just sitting outside of the venue in Pensacola. He's eating like Mediterranean food, and him and I are just talking about like the band, and it was just this unexpected moment, but it was just really awesome. So like Grady's super sick.
Yeah, good dude. I've met him on a few occasions. I met him at the observatory. I met him. He's here with One Step Closer. Shout out One Step Closer. They're good people.
Yeah, awesome.
Very amicable and easy to talk to. Shout out Ryan.
I love Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan's great. We talked for a while when they were here at program, and he loves Carry On, and I love Carry On. We all love Carry On. Take It to Heart loves Carry On. So um,
I still kick myself in the
that was
ass
cool.
for not going to their last show, which
Whose last show?
Carry On.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I remember they were doing 2 nights. The first night I couldn't go to because I think I had like work or something, and the second night I either had to go to the Carry On show or to Anime Expo. And at the time, I'm like, all right, everybody tells me that a band will break up and they always get back together. And at the time, I was like, super into anime, and I still like anime to this day, but not as much as I used to. So I was like, all right, like I've gone to so many hardcore shows this month, like I could skip Carry On because they'll definitely get back together. And I still to this day haven't seen Carry On.
Yeah. When was that? Was that I guess that must have been not too long ago for you to have been able to see it.
No, this was like if I want to say like 2005 or 2006.
Oh, okay, for sure.
Yeah, can't remember exactly, but it was going on at the Showcase Theater in Corona. But one day, I'm still holding out. There's a few bands that have been on my radar for a really long time that I've just have missed for whatever reason. So there's still time. I'm still here, so the door's not fully shut yet, at least on my end.
Yeah, I remember Todd Jones was actually posting photos of Showcase like last year, and people thought that he was gonna like try to reopen it or something. And rumors are rumors, but
yeah, no, the building is still up as far as I know. But I think there was like talks of like demolishing it, like that whole strip to like put in like a high rise or something.
That would suck.
Yeah, because there's so much history there. Like in real time, like when I was younger, going to those shows at the Showcase, I just loved that venue because it was the closest venue to where I lived that was doing awesome shows. So that's where we went. Like, it was
right.
like if a tour was coming through Southern California, and if it was hitting Chain and Showcase, like Showcase was our priority. Chain was plan B if we wanted to go to like multiple nights, or if it wasn't going to Showcase and only Chain, then it's like, all right, then we'll go to Chain. But yeah, Showcase was always like our top priority. And it's like where I first started going to shows, like outside of where I lived, where it was having like legit hardcore shows. So that place is like always special to me. And I've seen so many crazy shows there. Like one of my favorite memories that like Throwdown was doing 2 nights at Showcase, and the first night sold out, right? This is like, they're already popping. Haymaker was already out. And we get there and like we didn't think it was sold out because we were gonna try to buy tickets at the door, and we're like, fuck, it's sold out. Like we just drove an hour and a half, like what are we gonna do? So we noticed that at Showcase they were only putting like Sharpie X's on your hands as like re-entry, so we all just drew X's on our hands. We all got busted. They're like, that's fake, you're not getting in here, except for one of our friends that actually got through with his fake X, and he watched like 3 bands, and we're just sitting outside just like bullshitting. We're like, this sucks. And he finally came out and was like, hey, like I don't want to see Throwdown without you guys. Let's just buy tickets for tomorrow and go home and come back tomorrow. And like that's what we did. We
gotcha.
Yeah, we had to do that, which made it even that much more fun because we're like, fuck, like we were so close the first night, but then the second night when we got up there and we finally got to see Throwdown, it was cool. And this is me being a stupid kid. I remember I was up front and I was on like stage right, and where stage right was, like on the ground level was the little tunnel where bands would like load in and load out just to get to like the back of the building. And I remember I was like standing right there on the corner of stage right, just like waiting for them to start. And I remember Dave Peters like grabbed my shoulder to like climb up on stage, and they just jumped right into their set. And I was like, and this is me, I was like fucking 16, 17. I was like, oh my god, Dave Peters just grabbed my shoulder. Yeah, I was all excited. Shout out Dave Peters, former guest of the podcast. I hope him and his family are doing well. I hope Throwdown comes back at some point. I love that band, so anytime I can talk about Throwdown, I can go on forever. But a great night. I regret not buying. Well, I was too poor, so I couldn't buy them back then. But Throwdown had these like Converse looking shoes that had like the TD and like the grenade on them. Somebody out there has them, but great band, Orange County Straight Edge.
Throwdown's awesome. I love Throwdown. I haven't got the chance to see them yet because they don't play too often anymore. But that's that's amazing. I love that story. You try to get in with fake ice. Yeah, and those shoes. Throwdown. I've seen some pretty crazy Throwdown merch, floating around online. There was the studded, the belt, the straight edge belt, straight edge with an 8, STR8 edge. I'm sorry, it wasn't studded, but it was a leather belt that they did. I think it was a collaboration with Paul Frank in like 2004 or 5.
Yeah,
I don't know, just really crazy, like early 2000s hardcore merch.
Yeah, well, I wanted to boot
brand collaborations. Crazy.
I wanted to bootleg the Throwdown Dance Team t-shirts. Like I remember I was like watching the DVD and I got a still of like somebody wearing the shirt and I had to get it like, enhanced so the artist at the time could like recreate it.
That's crazy.
And then I was like maybe I should just leave it alone because I wish I could have an original just because I like that band so much. But I was like, I don't want to like make these bootlegs and kind of take away from it being special. So I was like, yeah, let me just not do it. So I just never did it. Maybe one day. Who knows? Figure it out.
I think you should, just for the hell of it.
If Throwdown,
bootlegs always make someone mad,
If Throwdown comes back, I'll make those bootlegs happen.
Yeah. Also, just shout out to t-shirt bootleggers. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. Like I can understand like some people's frustrations. But I don't want to, yeah. Like if it's out of print and somebody really wants it that bad, like unless they're like making crazy profit, then I don't really have a problem with it, But nobody's ever. Wait, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm gonna head inside. I'm gonna shift locations if that's cool with you.
Yeah, it's fine. But I've never been in that position where something's bootlegged something that I've created, so I haven't felt that frustration yet. But just do you figure it out?
Yeah.
Did we lose you, Ben? Your video is frozen.
Oh, here. I gotta switch Wi-Fi. I should be back in a sec.
Okay. All right. Ben's still here? He's just switching Wi-Fis.
Yeah, switching Wi-Fi networks. So I'm in my room now. Let's see. I follow a few different bootleggers on like Instagram and Twitter, etc. And there's definitely been some that have been like canceled because of like the bans of the, what am I trying to say? Like the actual band is sending like cease and desist orders or whatever. Like someone was going to do some glass jaw boots a couple months ago, and then that happened, and then they pulled them down. It's happened a few times I've seen. So, I mean, understandable, but at the same time, like, if you guys aren't going to make, cool merch designs, someone else will.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's such a gray area. Because, like, if somebody, like, when I was younger, I went to see Bleeding Through, they had a whole line of, like, Boondock Saints rips, right? And at the time, I was a kid in high school, didn't have any money, barely had enough money to get to the show and to give my buddy gas money who brought us there, so I couldn't buy merch. But if somebody were to bootleg that Boondock Saints Bleeding Through merch today, I would buy it. They're not like super active. I know they have a couple of things like going on, but they would probably get mad. But it's like, you're not going to make that shirt again, and I've never seen that shirt on like Depop or on Instagram being sold by people that I know. So it's like, if this is my one opportunity again, I have to take that chance. The only thing that I don't like is when there are these these companies. They're not even like legit companies, but they make their living off of these bootlegs, but they're not even um but they're trying to pass it off as like their own art. Like, hey, like we got this new drop coming, but it's just a like 100% rip of like the original. It's like you didn't create this. Like, don't try to pass it off as like, yeah, this is part of like our new drop, and it's just literally like a copy and paste. That's the stuff that
Yeah.
I see where I'm kind of like, that's kind of corny.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, I appreciate it because a lot of times they'll take like rare or out of print designs. And the thing about if you're buying originals is that you could be spending exorbitant amounts of money. I mean, I've seen like Vision of Disorder shirts, Earth Crisis, Buried Alive, like 90s stuff, Sepultura. I've seen this stuff go for like upwards of $200 on like eBay or Depop, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, I've seen a Madball shirt on Grailed for like 350. Like, it's ridiculous that people will try to like, I don't know, basically become like shirt scalpers. And I think that creating a kind of separate market so people can get their hands on that stuff and don't have to freaking pay their half their rent on a t-shirt. I mean, so like those designs are available, but
at like a fair cost,
yeah, at a reasonable price.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, or well, that's just a couple more than a couple, like I think 2015, Stop and Think played, and friends and I, like we didn't go together, but me and some friends were like in the building, saw the band, but they weren't selling any t-shirts, and my excitement was like, okay, cool, I can finally buy a Stop and Think t-shirt for a normal price, not like $100, because you've seen the one, it's the black shirt with just the eagle, Stop and Think, and I was trying to get one, and the guy was asking, I think it was like $110, and I was like, yeah, like I really like this band and I really like that design, but I don't want to pay $110. It's been worn by probably like 6 or 7 different people. It's probably nasty. So I was like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bootleg that design, and I'm just gonna give them to my friends who I know were there that want one, and that's what I did. I think I made only like 15, and I don't even own one anymore because I gave away the last one that I had to a buddy that really wanted one. So they're out there floating around, and it's like, obviously you can tell that it's like a newer shirt because of the garment and all that, but it's just like, yeah, like I saved my friends $110 if they really wanted to buy that shirt. It's like, no, don't do that, don't give them to that. Here's a free one, here's a fresh one, it's never been worn, printed in 2015 2016, and this is like free of charge, and I made $0 off of it because I don't want to make money off it. I just wanted to give my friends a t-shirt that I know that they wanted.
For sure. Yeah. I love that. I respect that a lot. You're doing it for a good cause.
Yeah. We're trying to undercut the market. It's floating around. You don't know what's real till you get it. Don't show the tag when you're selling online.
Yeah. It's funny. You can actually date stuff pretty accurately doing that. Like, if you're buying, shit from like the early 2000s, it's most likely going to be on Fruit of the Loom. Everyone was just printing on Fruit of the Loom, or Gildan, but you can tell by the Gildan tag, kind of like what era. It's, I don't know. I sound like a nerd right now, but I've done enough buying and selling of hardcore t-shirts to kind of notice that sort of stuff, and it's funny to think about.
Yeah, I think like the last couple times we've hung out, like I don't think you've been wearing like a modern era like t-shirt. It's always something from like years ago, like the early 2000s. And I'm like, damn, this guy's really into
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, I am. I mean, I there's not like a ton of bands doing stuff right now in like merch wise that I really love.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm a sucker for that 2003 looking style, when they did like really small prints on the chests and stuff. I just like how it looks. I mean, there's some bands that do that stuff now, and I don't know. I just buy what I like, and I like Koyo's merch actually. I like Koyo stuff. I bought some of the new Four in Hands stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really love Tyler Norris's artwork, and it reminds me a lot of Derek Hess, who did a lot of like the Trust Kill designs back in the day. But yeah, I mean, I have you are right though. It like behind me here, there's like probably a solid 3 out of 4. Like solid 75% of that stuff is like not modern.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Buy what you like. Like everything back here is like it's all scattered. Modern to like like mid 2000s stuff.
Yeah.
And
I see.
Yeah,
switching sleeve poking out of there.
Oh, that's like intentional. I always got to rep Twitching Tongues. Like ever since I did that podcast with Colin Young and hearing his his perspective on the band and which I'll never forget, which was always like really interesting to me. So I just always gotta represent and show my love for Twitching Tongues. I actually wore this jersey to FYA. So if you saw me at FYA, there's a picture on my Instagram. I was wearing that jersey. But yeah, for anyone who's watching, that will always be there. Just because
there we go.
That band means a lot, and I gotta never let that band fade away, and always gotta remind people when you tune in to the JMRK podcast video, Twitching Tongues will be there.
Oh yeah, I love that. Twitching Tongues is underappreciated, I think. Definitely a band with like mixed reviews in the realm of hardcore. They're not for everyone, but they're very cool. They put on a good live show.
Yeah, they're not for everyone, and then also I remember in the time of them coming out, so many people like shit on them because they were doing something different, and I'm like, this is classic for anyone doing anything that's different from the norm. Like people, it's easier to hate than to show love to something that's different from the cultural norm at the time. And I just was like, I don't get the hate. But at the same time, I do get the hate because I've always loved that band. I have like a bunch of like in here mixes a bunch of Twitching Tongue shirts, and I've always been a fan of that band. But for them to be brave enough to go out and do something different because that's what they wanted to play, and not just because everyone in that band is talented. They could have easily popped out with whatever sound was going on at the time and be like, here's our new band, let's just kind of fit in to with what's going on. But no, they're like, we're going to play what we want to play. And the fact that it was different, like, that's brave and awesome of them that they did that, because it was awesome. It's still awesome to this day. I think everything that they've done has been sick, and I understand, like, there's like shit going on behind the scenes. I can't speak on it because it's not like my thing, but I just hope one day we can see more from that band, because I love that band a lot.
Yeah, all those members have been in and out of so many other projects. I mean, they've left a huge mark on hardcore throughout the years. I mean, I know there's members is a Creatures and Forced Order, and the Young Brothers have been in like a million different bands. I mean, right now, God's Hate, Disgrace. There was Buried Dreams now and again, and like the list goes on.
Yeah, the newer band, Faith Alone, which they're killing it
There you go.
for anyone who saw them play their first show. They're playing again. They're playing in Orange County for the first time. That Terror tour, that's hitting Garden Grove. So like they know how to write good music, and they know what they're doing. But like I said, for them to come out with that sound at that time, it was awesome because they could have easily just played what was popular and gotten way more popular. But they're like, now, like, we're gonna do what we want, and they still were successful. They didn't listen to the haters. They just kept doing what they did, and then eventually people changed their tune and realized like, oh shit, this band's actually good. This band's awesome. But it's like, yeah, they've been that the whole time. People just were just unfamiliar.
Yeah, that's exactly how you should do it. Like there's absolutely 0 point to following a trend and like switching up, your style just so you can gain the attention of the people at the time. Like I've never understood that. And I mean, honestly, I get it, in terms of take it to heart, because we're doing a style that's not popular and has garnered some hate over the years. I mean, the term amazing core gets thrown around. I don't think anyone has described us explicitly as that, but melodic hardcore still gets kind of mixed opinions out of people. But then again, you are kind of seeing a resurgence of it a little bit with, I mean, One Step Closer is huge, and they're definitely a melodic hardcore band.
Mm-hmm.
Whether anyone, like, I don't think you can argue that, like, they are. That's
No, yeah,
they play.
Yeah, just go listen to the latest records. It's a perfect example of it.
Yeah, like, I think it's coming back in a little bit of a way.
Yeah, no, I like the fact that you guys, had that experience at Have Heart and wanted to play that, because in a scene, like ours out here in Orange County, I'd rather have the variety. I like having Dare, who's the more, faster, more punkier side of hardcore, than having a band like Scalp, who's like on the way more like, metal side, and then having you guys, the melodic side. So you put those three bands from Orange County, side by side. It's different. I'd rather have variety. You guys could have easily gone in either direction and been like, okay, let's play one of these styles that's already popular to try to latch onto that, and then probably get lost in the shuffle. But the fact that you guys just are playing what you want, even though it's not popular, I think it's great. I think more people should do that. That's how I feel like that's how these different sounds do eventually become the thing that's in at the moment. Because for anyone who's been around long enough, every type of hardcore has been more popular, or has been more popular than the other, but it's because of the people who are playing the music. Bands like you guys who are keeping that sound alive, because it's like I said, it's easy, and you guys could have picked a different style, but you guys didn't want to. So the fact that you guys are keeping that melodic style alive, I think it's really important.
Yeah, I mean, trends come and go, but that's the thing, they're trends. And some like a certain thing will be popular for a certain time, and then you get a large crop of bands that kind of ride on the coattails of that, and then they'll fall off, and it's kind of like a cycle. But I think, if you're in a band, like, you have to be your own fan first. You have to like believe in what you're doing, and you have to have that confidence to just, write the music you want to write and do it. And regardless of what people think, like, you're going to do your thing. And I mean, that's how I've always felt about it. That's how the rest of the band feels about it. Like, we're going to write hardcore how we want to write it. And we're going to put it out to the world, and what happens, happens, if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. And
yeah, I feel like that's it. Like you don't
yeah,
really get to decide. You put it out there, and you just kind of leave it up to everybody else. Like obviously, like you can like it, and hopefully you like it because you're creating it. But after you upload it, once the pre-orders go out, once people are able to consume it their own way, it's not really your choice if it's good or not.
Yeah, absolutely. It's out of your control how people consume the media you create.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have control over other people's opinions. So far, there's a lot of people who have enjoyed the music we've done so far, and then I've sent the new EP to plenty of friends, you included, I believe.
Yes, you have.
Yes, okay. And people have really only had good things to say, which I'm very thankful for, and I'm glad that people dig it, and I'm stoked to see what the rest of everyone thinks. But
so in the interim,
I can't control that.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing I can do is write the music and put my heart into it and do the best I can. Or not me, but the rest, the band as a group.
Mm-hmm. But in the interim, right? The label, or excuse me, not the label. The album has been done since last summer. As far as wanting to write new music, what's that like? Are you having to pace yourself out, or are you even thinking about writing new stuff? Do you even want to write new stuff because you can't really do anything with it since the stuff that you've already written hasn't even come out yet?
Yeah. So we're working on new stuff. I guess, how should I say it? Like, in short, yeah, we're writing new stuff. Because after this EP, we want to start working on an LP.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just kind of writing, naturally, what would be the natural progression from what we've done. So we're kind of trying to stay ahead of the game in a sense, but at the same time, Eric right now is really busy with Dare. Our other guitarist, Max, lives in San Luis Obispo. Everyone's busy with work. So we don't get together too often right now, but we do have one new song written and some fragments of others. And very stoked on that stuff. I'm like chomping at the bit to work on it more. And I think the LP is really where everything's gonna shine. Like, I personally, I really want to make that perfect, and I think the rest of the guys will agree with me on that. Like, I think in general, LP1 is a make or break point for a band.
Mm-hmm.
You either that's where you either if you don't do it right, that's where people will you'll kind of stagnate, people stop. Or if you do it right and it becomes a hit and people really dig it, it makes a lot of noise, and that can propel you. And we saw that with Magnitude,
Mm-hmm.
Knocked Loose. Who else released some killer LPs recently?
Really, One Step Closer, their LP.
One Step Closer, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And even Anxious, same circle, but look at Anxious. They, we're doing things here and there. They had that full US with One Step Closer, and then they did that run with Koyo, but then the album comes out, and now they're on full US with Knuckle Puck. They're going on a full US Boston Manor, and now they're doing stuff with Thrice and Bayside, and it's just like the trajectory for them is just keeps going up. So they're that first record is done a lot, and it's well deserved. I know those guys, and I've listened to their music for a long time, and it's well deserved. I'm very happy for them.
Yeah, absolutely. They, you know, those bands, they did it right. They got it right, and they're like kind of reaping the success from that. So good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, and I mean, there's bands on the other end too. Like Eco Strike. They released their LP, and it kind of didn't really get that much attention. And now they're playing their last show, which is a bummer because I would have liked to see more out of Eco Strike, but I guess every project kind of runs its
Mm-hmm.
course.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like they're just like an interesting case because I remember when they came out and they did that West Coast run with I'm trying to think who it was. Envision, was it Magnitude? Yeah, it was Magnitude.
Yeah, I guess you
Yeah,
was
yeah.
on it.
I'm trying to think. And I remember speaking to some of the guys, and they weren't sure like like what kind of draw they would have, and I was like, dude, like I don't like, and it's always interesting to me. So I'm like, dude, I don't think they realize like how big their bands are, how much people actually like their bands. Because I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be sick, and I'm sure every show on that run was a great turnout for them. But it definitely is a bummer. I'm not sure what happened exactly with Eco Strike. They put out that last record, and obviously due to the pandemic, they couldn't, like, nobody could do anything. But it does suck to see that band, hang it up.
Yeah,
Because I'm a huge fan of that band, a huge fan of the people in the band. Which is part of the reason why I'm flying to Florida. Outside of being a From Within Record Showcase, I wouldn't want to miss the final Eco Strike show just because, like I said, I'm a fan of the band, fan of the people in it. But
yeah,
but knowing that they're all doing other stuff like newer music, like if you haven't listened to Carbonite, go listen to Carbonite. They put out an awesome demo in 2020. They're working on new music, so it's not over for those guys. They just maybe thought it was done for Eco Strike, and they want to focus more time on the other stuff that they probably see, like like other things, and See the Pain's doing more stuff. They're coming out here for the first time, which is
right.
long overdue, which is going to be sick. Them and Age of Apocalypse doing a run with Dead Heat, so it should be pretty insane, to be honest. Like, that's going to hit programs. Age of Apocalypse, See the Pain at program, that's going to be insane.
Yeah, I'm very stoked. I'm hoping I will be able to catch one of those shows. I'm going out of town around that time, so I don't know yet if I will, but I will try because I do love Seed of Pain.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely, like, in my opinion, I think those guys are right to focus on like that band, and like move forward with that project because that band is killer.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of buzz when Champions of Chaos was coming out, and I knew they had some cool stuff in the works, but just like everybody else, the rug got pulled because of COVID. But I'm happy to see them get out here, and I hope that band gets the recognition they deserve, because for that style, they kill it. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to do metallic hardcore, just hard and fast and no bullshit,
100%. Well, and is there any possibility you guys get crazy, you write this LP in the next couple months, you submit it early so that you don't have to wait a full year? Well, you don't have to sit for another full year. Like, it can kind of be already in the queue, so the EP can have its run, and then here it is, boom, we can release this when we're ready because it's already made, it's already done, we already got ahead of it. Is that something that you guys would want to entertain, or are you guys just kind of going with the flow and hoping that by the time that's done on a normal schedule, that pricing plans will be back to normal and not have to wait these long times to get vinyl in?
Honestly, I think it's going to be more of the latter. I mean, right now we're really focused on just like the rollout for the second EP, and that's what's been on our minds, and we're kind of getting ready for that, and all the stuff that goes with it. I mean, and like I said, we are working on new music that's probably going to end up on the LP, but I think at this point, the I mean, cases of COVID are way down from what they were.
Mm-hmm.
And I think things are starting to like finally kind of reach the end. In my unprofessional opinion, just, from what I'm seeing living every day.
Yeah, no,
what we all see.
There's definitely been a shift.
Yeah. So I think that, now with that, like, the load is going to lessen on the vinyl pressing plants, and things are going to be returning more to normal with that, or at least I'm hoping for that.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, we're just going to have to cross that bridge when we get to it. I think.
All right. Well, Ben, this has been super awesome. I'm happy to finally have had you on the podcast. Next is we got to get Pat. Want to talk to him about his job. Hopefully he's okay with that. He's a character. I love hanging out with Pat.
Pat is amazing. I'm so happy we added him to the lineup. He is absolutely a character. I cannot wait to be on the road with him. He's such a trip.
Okay. Well, for anyone listening, thank you for sticking around. Go stream The Brighter Side until the new EP comes out. So stay tuned for that. Rollout will be happening, early summer. Before we go, Ben, is there anything else you would like to say?
I want to shout out Fading Signal, Strangle You, First Day Out, Hesitate, Castaway, Rejection Packs, and Broken Vow.
All right.
All those bands are fucking awesome, and you should listen to them.
100%. Well, thank you, and we'll be back soon.